Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, Margaret Weis, Tracy Hickman, and their $10 million lawsuit against Wizards of the Coast, and specifically what I think will be the lasting legacy of this lawsuit. So real quick, I'll just explain what's going on. There's lots of great coverage out on YouTube on this. Talking 20 has already talked about this. There's literally a lawyer who has done a breakdown of the lawsuit itself. Just tons of tons of Dungeons and Dragons YouTube channels are talking about this. So I want to just focus. So I'll give you a quick summary, and I want to focus on what I think the lasting legacy is going to be. So quick summary, and this is my understanding of it, right? Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman were contracted by Wizards of the Coast to write another trilogy for the Dragonlance novel series. Now, this is very unusual because, from what my understanding, I don't even think they are making Dungeons & Dragons novels right now. They suspended Dungeons & Dragons novels, I think, about 3 or 4 years ago. They were not doing well overall, and they were running into major problems where, generally, I think authors were ignoring how Dungeons & Dragons works, and Dungeons & Dragons was having to fix a bunch of problems that were happening in the novels. So there was not good synergy between the D&D authors and between the rules writers and all this kind of, basically I think novels overall, like people are like, are books even a thing anymore, right? Novels overall, I think, are on the downswing, with video games and just so much screen content being so much better than it was previously. Overall, eyeball readers are becoming a rarer and rarer breed, especially for novel-length stuff. So it's a serious problem, right? So basically, everything I understand is that WotC said, contracted them, and then came back later after Weis and Hickman had delivered a draft of at least one book, and they said, you know what, we're not going to need this trilogy. Sorry, we're out. Right now, I think one of the reasons why there's a whole lot of speculation about why that happened, right? And I don't think anybody really knows the full why all this occurred, right? Why WotC was like, nah, we're out. Why did they start the ball rolling and then stop the ball rolling, right? So one, honestly, my 2 cents, it was a mistake to even start it. They should not have started doing the novels again. And the reason why is, here's my 2 cents on Dragonlance. Dragonlance does not matter, right? Dungeons and Dragons is fighting for its life right now, right? It's 46 years old, and there are huge groups, cultural community groups, mostly on Twitter, that are coming for its throat, and they're like, you know what, you haven't had enough inclusion in your history, and we would really like to see new games replace you, right? So Dungeons & Dragons is just like, they're really against the ropes as far as from a cultural perspective, defending the history of their product, which is a short history. It's only 46 years old, right? So the reality is, they got a lot going on. They're trying to keep the rules relevant. They're trying to keep the game going. Streaming has helped tremendously. But the other thing is the issue of diversity in how they hire, how they get writers. They want to build a good product, but they also want their staff to be diverse. I think they've tried to do that, and there's been some significant fails in their attempts, right? And so they're really struggling, right? And the reality is, I think it was a mistake to begin with to even contract a trilogy of Dragonlance novels. Here's why, okay? I started playing Dungeons & Dragons in 1982, and I have read literally hundreds, well over 100,000 pages of content on Dungeons & Dragons, right? Easily, right? And my take on this is and I don't know Dragonlance. I really don't. Like, Raceland's in there. There's like a Kender. There's a lady and another wizard. I don't, like, it's a mess. It's a hot, like, there's the Night of the Summer Rose, and it's a mess. It's just, here's the issue, right? Dungeons & Dragons is an incredible game, and I think it's done such a fantastic job with creating this new type of art vector. That's what I think Dungeons & Dragons is. It's much bigger than a game. I think saying Dungeons & Dragons is a game is like saying an Air Jordan is a shoe, right? Air Jordan changed the game for it created the sneakerhead industry, right? It is more than a sneaker, right? Yeah, that'd be like saying Air Jordan, the Air Jordan 1 was a sneaker, right? No, it was the launching of a massive industry, and it really changed how what shoes can be, what they mean to people. There are entire communities and industries built around, multiple industries built around the Air Jordan shoe, right? So the idea, the Air Jordan, which was really way more than a shoe. It's it's a collection, it's a brand name, it's a shoe. Like, it's just to say it's just a sneaker is ridiculous, right? It's just so much more than that, right? And to say Dungeons & Dragons is a game, in my opinion, is outrageous. It is way more than a game. I think it's an art vector. Okay, so and that vector works for different people in different ways, right? So Dungeons & Dragons is an art vector, and the reality is the real juice in Dungeons & Dragons is what are we going to do with this rule set that allow millions of dungeon masters and players to tell collaborative stories, right? That's the juice. You do not need Dragonlance to do that, right? And so Dragonlance is wholly unnecessary. Why is Dragonlance unnecessary? Here's why. It's warmed over Tolkien, right? So Dungeons & Dragons has done this tremendous job of creating a new art vector, right? It's art, it's literature, it's a game, right? And that's enough, right? What it has utterly failed at in its 46 years is to create even a single compelling setting. There is just not a compelling setting in Dungeons & Dragons. And the reason why is fundamentally Dungeons & Dragons is systematized Tolkien, right? But they never paid the Tolkien estate, right? So and I don't think they owe them any money, right? But the influence, it's an homage to Tolkien, and they just put a system on it. And frankly, the Tolkien estate could have done that themselves if they had the idea. They didn't, right? And the reality is Tolkien used enough elements. Like, Tolkien doesn't own humans, dwarves, and elves. Tolkien doesn't own dragons. Tolkien doesn't own orcs, right? Like, it's not his stuff, right? These are all ingredients that anybody can use. It'd be like if a good chef made some buttered toast and be like, well, nobody can use bread or butter again, right? Like, it's fine, right? So, but the settings are terrible. Settings are generally terrible. All Dungeons & Dragons settings, there's never been a knock it out of the park Dungeons & Dragons setting, because the reality is, really, I think what would be the perfect Dungeons & Dragons setting is if WotC and the Tolkien estate could come to an agreement and you could build an official Dungeons & Dragons setting, right? Which was Middle Earth. Until we get there, I don't really think they're going to have mastered it. Or if somebody launches something that just captures the zeitgeist and everybody's down with it, and it blows and it's not just a warmed over Tolkien rehash, right? And that's never happened. And that's what I'm saying. I think Dragonlance is a Tolkien rehash, right? So where does that leave us? That gives us the answer we're looking for. What is the lasting effect of this lawsuit going to be? Here's what it's going to be. They're just going to scrub Dragonlance right off the history of Dungeons & Dragons. Done. Margaret, you do not need, like, Gary Gygax's this whole ball of wax, right? That's it. He's the creator, right? And that's all you really need to roll forward history-wise, right? Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman are completely unnecessary for the success of Dungeons & Dragons, right? They help propel it for a little while. Okay, right? But the reality is, I think new players, they don't know Dragonlance. They don't know Dragonlance from whatever, okay? It is completely unneeded, and it's a sticker on the car, right? It's not the car. It's not what propels D&D forward to success. And what I think is really sad is, in my opinion, Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman made a mistake. because this is going to incent WotC to just rub out Dragonlance and never touch it again, which I think they had already decided to do, right? So I think this is just going to sour everybody's opinion of. It's going to sour every official opinion of. It's going to make sure WotC has no incentives to celebrate Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman, and it'll be easy as pie to just leave them out of all historical books going forward. And and I think the reality is this was a huge mistake. I think Weis and Hickman are coming to what could be the end of their careers, and the peace that would have been letting this one last trilogy go rather than souring your entire relationship with the company, I think a piece would have been far more valuable to them. That's my 2 cents. Am I wrong? Let me know. Maybe I'm more than willing to listen to anybody who has a reasonable supposition on this. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.